Ari, Luke, Joey, all
Hi.
together. Thanks for joining us. And I mean, your new album is out on the 28th of November, right? 28th?
29th,
29th.
Yes,
Close
think.
enough.
Yeah.
Uh,
it is the
are we
29th. Yeah.
sure?
You've asked the
Uh,
two worst people to ask in the band.
Yeah, probably the worst people. I'm gonna Google it.
I'm pretty
and
sure it's the 29th because I've been looking at that date for months. Months.
yeah, okay. So it must be. I trust you. Ooh, some awful feedback then. Don't know who that was. Erosion, Avulsion, and for a band who only have three songs pretty much since 5 years ago and have played, the likes of Arc Tangent and things like that, I suppose the most pressing question is, are you Sheffield United or Sheffield Wednesday fans?
Neither. If you've come to see us live, you'll know. I don't know if it's a gimmick, but I wear a different Leicester shirt every time I'm on stage. So I'm a huge Leicester fan, and Luke's a Port Vale fan for his sins
There's
because he
no
grew up in
members
Birmingham.
of our band that are actually originally from Sheffield, like who grew up in Sheffield. We're all people who, well, I mean, Liam doesn't even live in Sheffield; he lives in Huddersfield. Our bass player.
So there's no, oh, geez, sorry. Don't know whose interference that is. Anyway, um, Luke, my mate plays for Port Vale, James
Oh,
Stockley.
really? That's cool.
Yeah, Jaden.
Ah,
So he was an
oh, nice.
ex-Bournemouth lad and moved around a bit and went up north and he's now back at Port Vale, yeah. So
Oh, wow, that
I'll
is
get him to
cool.
send you a signed shirt.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yes.
But
What
nothing
are the
comes for
chances of
free.
that?
I want a signed vinyl back in return, all right?
Deal.
That does sound like a very good deal. Yeah.
Well,
I
anyway, sorry, Harry, you're gonna say.
Yeah, I was gonna say I live on the road right next to the stadium, the Sheffield Wednesday Stadium. So I get to go
Pretty
to
much a Wednesday fan, aren't you? Yeah.
yeah, I go to quite a lot of Wednesday games because my little son's a Wednesday fan. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, we get to go. Well, I wanted him to kind of experience the same thing that Leicester did when we won the league. So when he's 34, Sheffield Wednesday won the Premier League. You heard it here first.
Stick that down as a bet now. That is a banker.
Absolutely.
But anyway, football aside and joking aside, like the new album, Venny, I just give you some kudos now. Venny's got his finger on the pulse when it comes to like um UK bands and Arc Tangent type bands, and he was like, "We're going to interview Hidden Mothers. Check this out." And Venny, you were so on the point. This album's great. Um,
Thank you.
and like as I said, for a band that has been going 5 years, only has four songs, the anticipation of this new album is ridiculous. And I was thinking today when I was at the beach, um, um, no, I was thinking like, I think how much of an impact has social media had on you as a band, considering
Huge.
your limited output of music?
Huge. Liam is an absolute pest. Liam, our bassist, is an absolute pest online, and it's testament to his really hard work as to how many years get to hear it. He's just a bit of a prick on Twitter, and it works. But but yeah, I think like Twitter is the place we've managed to grow our audience the most,
Is
I
it?
suppose. Just from like shit posting and stuff like that. So.
Yeah.
But he's always on his Instagram and Facebook and all that kind of. You've got to kind of play the game
He's
these days, haven't you? You've got to
yeah,
play the game.
yeah. Liam does all that, and you know, yeah, obviously, like lots of shit posting and a lot of kind of just being funny and stuff on Twitter. But he also is really big on building community with other bands, and he's always
Yeah.
talking to other bands, and
Mhm.
he's really. I mean, we all are, but we're taking credit for what he does because he does it all, and he kind of he wants to be friends with the bands. He wants to talk to other bands. He's always commenting on other bands' stuff, talking to other bands as well, and you know, arranging shows and stuff. So he's just always really busy with stuff like that. So I think that's really helped us the way he is and how I mean just how big he is in the music scene in general. Regardless whether he was in a band or not, he probably would still be
Mm.
like that, always communicating with people and making friends in music. So
He's the perfect PR guy. He's like just like the friendliest, nicest guy, and
yeah.
everyone loves him. Everyone knows him, and yeah, it's testament to where we are as a band because of his hard work.
Yeah, and I think I saw, maybe it was today or yesterday, was it something like an exchange with Mastiff saying about doing a tour or something? Am I
Oh
right?
yeah, there's a lot of like fake beef on Twitter
Yeah,
with
yeah,
with those guys and Caligram and Sugar
yeah.
Horse. Just constant like a circle of
It's great.
ribbing each other. And it works because like yeah, there is talk of a tour with Mastiff.
I don't
So
know. Is there? Is there?
that's
We have to be careful with Harry because Harry sometimes
so
says things that he
so
doesn't
that's
Oh yeah,
know if
that's
it's
why
true
we're
confirmed.
or
like
not.
that.
That's confirmed. Okay.
I
There's
don't
a
think
tour
I don't know if
Mastiff.
that is true. I don't know if that is
Lu-
true.
Got the exclusive again, Jerry. It's good stuff.
Another exclusive. Luke being like Donald Trump's sort of like spokesman. Don't say that on Twitter. Don't say that. So yeah, that's confirmed. Great. Um, Venny, Venny, over to you, mate. You are. I'll let you
You
carry on.
know,
Sorry.
I mean, I'm just blown away by that new album, guys. Like, I genuinely think it is incredible. I mean, I know it's been a little while on coming, but where has it come from? Like, it's just so good.
Again, Luke has been well, I think lockdown was pretty favorable to it because it meant that Luke got to sit down and write songs and write ideas, lyrics and small ideas, and he brought it to us, and it just kind of blossomed from that. There was a little bit of fear that we'd alienate our current fan base with it being so different to the first four songs that we put out, but I think we're better for it, and it was just like quite an organic writing process. Luke brings these beautiful harmonies and these melodies and what have you, and then me and Liam and Adam just mess them up, and it seems to work.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess yeah. Lockdown was helpful to an extent. Yeah, I guess. I mean, the way we've written has always kind of been the same, but the handful of songs has been different. Like I always will have. I mean, to be fair, not all of the ideas I come up with at home as well. I come up with a lot of things. It's really strange how we do things. I would love to be a fly on a wall to see how other bands do it, because sometimes we'll just be like in a practice room and I'll just be playing the guitar. I'm like, oh, these four chords sound really nice, and then a few hours later we've got a song, and it's really strange. And I'd love to know how other people do it because I don't know. We don't do a lot of prep. We don't do a lot of bands do like stuff on like I know, for example, like bands who we're friends with, like Cops. They do
Mhm.
everything. They do all the demoing, and they're always send. I think they're always sending things to each other and stuff like that. Whereas we just all kind of get in a room and be like, "Oh, I like these four chords and this. I've got this little lyric," and then to maybe write a song, and that's also how
Yeah.
we've always done it, really.
Is it like because 100% Luke, like bands these days would be sending demos back and forth, especially during COVID, which is
Mhm.
you couldn't not do it. But
Yeah,
are
of
you are
course.
you
Yeah,
are
yeah,
you a band who like you rehearse every week, you get into a room and you're like,
yeah, yeah,
lads, here we go, this is the riff, and then
yeah.
like you do it all in the rehearsal room, and
That's
then
exactly, yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we kind of like build it's all done in the rehearsal room. So we practice every Tuesday. We've got practice tomorrow. So and we'll just as I say, Luke will have an idea or I'll have an idea and it will just kind of grow from that. And it might be completely different to the idea that we started with. For example, like Still Sickness on the album, we had a writing day where we had a full weekend where we, you know what I'm going to say, and you're
I
going
know
to
you're gonna say.
dispose it straight away. So we had a writing weekend, and we just kind of sat down just to write. And Still Sickness came out of that. And in its first incarnation, it had a vocoder, which I absolutely want to do again. And Luke's shaking his head. So it was kind of almost a bit like a trip hop song, almost like Portishead. And then it changed to what it is now. So sometimes we'll have a song brewing for ages, and then by the time we finish with it, it'll be completely different. And I really like that writing process. It's as I say, super organic the way we do
and who's the perfectionist in the band? Luke, I'm looking at you straight away.
I did. I think everyone's perfectionist in different ways. Like, I think, I think one of the defining things about the way we write music as well is because I know every band probably does say this, but I do genuinely feel like we are all genuinely very different musicians.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a lot more kind of, I mean, even just from our backgrounds, really. Like Liam's from more of a, I guess, kind of what you, I guess, like metalcore background. Kind of, he's always been listening to things like Converge and Botch and things like that's what he kind of came from. Adam's more like, more, I guess, like death metal, and he listens to a lot of hardcore as well. I grew up in emo bands, and that's what I've always done. And I've always been before this band started as well. I've always been a singer, really. I played the guitar, but mainly was the vocalist. So, and Ari, you're kind of into your math rocky, post rocky, anything that's strange and has strange time signatures and stuff. And I think I think we're perfectionists in that way. Like I'm sometimes, my perfectionism is I want to pull things often, usually towards things that are maybe more emotional, more melody based. And then some of the other lads are maybe being like, yeah, it sounds good, it sounds melodic, it sounds emotional, but musically is a bit boring. And then he'll be pulling in a different direction. And then Liam will be sometimes being kind of, knocking on the door and saying, actually, we need something heavy in here because this song's just kind of been, for example, me singing for a long time and just sounding really sad, but there's not really much movement in the song. So I think there's that kind of perfectionism in a sense that we all want different things for the song, which can be quite argumentative. Not necessarily in a bad way, but it's just, it's not always easy to write
Constructive
music together.
sort of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. It's not always easy to write music together because we are all trying to generally pull songs in different directions. But I think that tension kind of makes us the way we are, why we have songs that are like on the album that are really quite metallic and kind of close to the old kind of black metal kind of side of things that we used to do, but then we've started having more stuff that are a lot more melodic than we ever would do before. So,
well,
yeah, I went through
on.
I went through a whole, well, while we were writing the album, I avoided listening to any metal whatsoever, just so I could like fill my subconscious with other influences, I guess. So I went back to, as Luke says, we've got very, very different tastes, and I used to be massively, well, I still am, into like odd indie, like Radiohead, Metronomy, Block Party, that kind of thing. So I went back and listened to a lot of 2010s indie, like Metronomy, and you can hear that in some of the songs, like in Still Sickness. I basically ripped off the chord progression to Beach by Metronomy. So there's like loads of odd influences that you wouldn't expect on the album because we're so different musically. We have the odd crossover, like me and Luke, we're into like Midwest emo. Me and Adam are into jazz. Then me and Liam are into like weird mathcore and stuff like that. And other members have so we have this like Venn diagram, which is super messy, but it kind of becomes hidden mothers because that's how we do things.
so I just have to point out, I don't want to interrupt again because we've got Ari interrupting enough. That's fine. But I do want to just say, he's like, you listed all the members, and he went, and we've got other members, like with the Hives. We've got the secret member or something. We've got some secret members somewhere in this band.
What was his name? Doctor, the bassist, Doctor Occultus or something.
I don't know. Is the Hives? Is it? It was. Is it?
Yeah.
Is the Hives? They have like a secret member, don't they? And
Yeah,
they say,
yeah.
"Oh, there's this member who writes all the songs," and it's not. I don't know. They don't think. I don't think it's a real person, but
Maybe that's Ghost. Just the one person. Sorry, Venny, you were itching there.
Yeah, I mean, it's really great to hear you guys talk like that because, I mean, our very limited job of Joey and I is essentially on an audio format trying to describe music. And I'm kind of dreading to try and review your album because there is no real pigeonhole to put it in.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know bands don't like doing it, but I genuinely don't know what to kind of classify your music as other than I like it a lot. But yeah, it's very difficult And I do. I mean, you mentioned Sugar Horse already. I felt actually quite similar with their record as well, which I also think is fantastic.
It was good, really good, yeah.
I just find it very hard to kind of classify, and I think it is just that melding of all these different styles, and it's clearly a very good thing in a time where there is a lot of music that is straight down the genres. It's fantastic. Again, it's not really a question, but I don't know where you guys see yourself other than just being your own thing.
Absolutely. I think we've already started to go back into the studio to start an album too. So we've got 3 half-made songs at the moment. We're approaching the songwriting very differently this time. With the album, we had another member, the secret member, who wasn't very secret, our old singer. So we were kind of structuring the song around. Well, we wrote the song first and fit the lyrics to it afterwards. Whereas this time round, we're going to really work on songcraft, and Luke's got some solid ideas that we've already brought. And Liam and I and Luke and Liam are already taking them all apart. So yeah, we're we're approaching the second album a little differently, but we just want to ramp it up. We want to do that, but better.
And I mean, like we said, you started or the first single came out 2019. Then you had the EP, and now the album's come out 5 years later from the first release, and now you're talking about album two already. Have you now found your flow as a band in terms of writing, rehearsing, and all that stuff?
I don't know. I guess, yeah, definitely. I mean, we are like, we don't plan on taking breaks and stuff. I think we're just gonna always do it. Um, I mean, the writing thing, we still don't know how it's gonna go. We don't know how long it's gonna be, really, to be fair. Because we are we're always working on stuff. We go back on things quite a lot as well, and I think that album did take a long time to write, and there was a lot of reasons why it did take a long time to write. But some of them songs were kind of worked so many times, so it's so hard to say, I guess, how well we write at the moment. I don't know. Sometimes I get little mini panics when we are writing music that I think, oh, shit, have we done everything now? Can we do anything new? Because we'll spend so long reworking something and then give up on it or something. So I would like to think that the next thing will come easier, but only time will tell. I mean, I hope it's not another. Maybe it was 4 years ago we put out the first EP. The band's been together like 5 years, I guess. Yeah, like 4 years. The first. I don't want that to happen ever again, because that was. I mean, it wasn't necessarily our fault. It was COVID. It was, it was just we did like bits of touring and playing live a lot. So I don't know.
Do you worry? And like coming off Venny's point, you're very as a band, like your music is so diverse. Like you could be post here, black metal here, whatever here. Do you worry about that? Because this album is so good, and Venny, we haven't reviewed it yet, but I think we're both on the same page that it's such a great body of work that it's not even released yet. But do you worry about that classic sophomore album of can we recreate or better what we've done?
I think with this album, we wrote the song so long ago that there is a certain level of worry with, as I say, going back to my earlier point of alienating maybe our current fan base with new ideas, but I'm the wrong person to ask about worrying. I never really worried.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be grand. But yeah, I think in terms of I guess because we've been playing those songs for so long now that we're kind of like not sick of them, but we know them too well.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that was the end of my point, really.
Sorry,
I want to interrupt again.
Sorry. Well, I don't know. It's a weird one. I mean, I am very aware of how much our music has changed. And I guess it's just what direction we go next. I guess I do worry about, because I think, again, it kind of comes back to the fact that we're all very different musicians with very different kind of, I guess, starting palettes of when we came into this band. Like, I mean, we all wanted, when we started the band, we all kind of met up at a pub and we all kind of said, oh, we really want to do like a black gaze kind of post black metal band. That was what we said, which we did. And then because we all had other places which we came from into that, I guess, as we got more comfortable together, I started saying, oh, I quite like clean singing. Can I do a little bit more clean singing here and there? And then obviously the album's probably like 50%, 60% clean singing now.
we,
and I, so, oh, sorry, I was just about to say, and I guess there's the worry that, I don't know, which I guess as long as there's always that tension there, I hope that it'll always still be good. I think there's always a little bit of a worry of one of us. I think we all worry about each other taking the lantern a bit too much. Like quite often when we are writing music, especially sometimes writing the album or sometimes maybe writing new stuff, there is always a kind of a worry that we might make something that is very, very soft, but not in a way that, you know, soft because it's good, just soft because that's just what we've done, and we've not actually thought about, well, is this the best way for a song to go? Am I running off kind of just trying to do loads of melody and basically write a folk song with everyone else in the room? Do you know what I mean? It's like, or similarly, you know, someone else might run off and say, oh, let's just write some really heavy, noisy, sludgy music. And then we kind of lose all the elements of melody. I don't know. That's the when I think about worrying about writing music, that's what I think about. That tension stays, and we always have a good compromise between us all, and that nobody. Yeah.
I think.
Sorry, Ari, go on.
Yeah, sorry. I was going to say, like, I think that's what makes us, because we might start with one idea, because we're so different, we'll bring that together. But really playing into our strengths. When Luke's mouth opened and that heavenly thing came out of it, we were just like, we need to do more of that.
Melts my heart.
He's got the most beautiful voice, and I don't think he knows how good it is, because yeah, and he sings with real feeling as well. I'm tearing up.
Oh no! Oh, it's gone.
But yeah, honestly, we really need to, like, as I say, we've really leaned into our strengths with this album, and Luke's voice is definitely one of those.
Sorry, Venny, I'm gonna let you have the next see us out. But the interesting point there was, Luke, you were talking about, you know, maybe going a bit too mellow, but coming back to black metal, which is, you know, one of my favorite genres. When Watain released The Wild Hunt, and I don't know if you've heard the album, but
I'm not familiar with that band. No.
Okay, well, they're a, you know, ferocious Swedish black metal band, and, you know, proper anti-Christian Satanism, all that. But they released a song called They Rode On, and it was just a completely mellow song, you know, clean singing. And Venny and I talk about it on this show a lot, that, you know, music is progressing so much because everything's been done so much that you need to break that mold. So I don't think there's much of a concern from you guys in that regard, if that makes sense. That's more of a statement than
I get
else.
what you're saying. Yeah, but yeah, it's just interesting. Like, yeah, because like there is, our music could go in so many different directions, and I guess you just you sometimes do have that thing. Oh, right, are we push it in the right direction?
Yeah.
Should maybe pull back a little bit, you know? Yeah.
I mean, I personally think the the wider music scene, but particularly the UK scene at the moment, has got so many good, just diverse bands all doing their own thing. None of them particularly sound like a scene, you know, all doing the same music, but in a way it's a wider scene that, like, you know, and it's fantastic, and it does mean that you get an album like you guys coming along, and it just doesn't really sound like anyone else, but still fits within the wider scope. And like when you guys say, well, you may or may not say you're touring with Mastiff, like Mastiff are an extremely heavy band.
They are.
Yeah, they are. Thank you. Yeah, nothing more to add, but yeah, they are. But it kind of weirdly fits that you guys with this latest album that has like, I think so much kind of that emo you say like a bit of thrice in there, but it just kind of fits like that. Tour would kind of fit, and that's like a huge compliment to the UK scene at the moment. There's so many people doing different things, but it's all kind of fitting together really well. So yeah, I guess it just really doesn't matter what you guys want to do next. Is probably the biggest statement I would say.
Yeah.
That's the good thing about playing. We can fit on a bill with whoever because we've got so many different parts. We're playing with a screamo band on Friday, and then who we're going on tour with? Nylon,
Nylon, yeah, a hardcore band, yeah.
hardcore. So
Um,
yeah, it's like totally different feelings from the bands that we're playing with, but we just seem to complement each other, which is nice.
And how did the hookup with Church Road happen?
I think that was it. Was it? Yeah, I mean, we've told this story this particular story loads of time, but it is really true story, and it's really kind of interesting, which is the fact that when we did all first meet, which was all through our old singer Stefan, um, uh, we all met and we all kind of met up and we all kind of jokingly we'd said to each other, said, "Oh, how funny it would be one day if we played Arctangent and if we could get on Church Road Records." And then we've done both now, so that is kind of indicative, I guess, of that was always the dream, so to speak. It was kind of like, well, if we're gonna be like an alternative band in kind of the metal sphere and kind of a little bit the post-hardcore sphere, post-rock and all that kind of stuff that we were doing, that's where we would go.
It was
And I
day
didn't think,
one.
yeah, we never really thought about anywhere else either. It was
No,
just kind of like, obviously, we went with amazing friend of ours, Frenchie, who runs Surviving Sounds, put out the EP, and he was great and it was awesome. And when we first started, that was an amazing opportunity for us. But then when we were kind of putting out the album, we were like, okay, we want to do, we want to kind of, I guess, have a step up from that. And it was kind of always like, oh, well, Church Road is obviously what we're going to try and get. And then if we can't get that, we'll try for something else. So,
And Church Road is kind of like a microcosm of what we were just talking about. Like the records they put out don't really sound like just a classic hardcore label or whatever
oh,
else.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
an arbiter of pretty good quality in the scene
Mhm.
at the moment. So yeah, no, that's great. And yeah, as we say, Art Tangent is an obvious fit for you guys, and I know you played there before. So
Mhm.
I mean, Church
awesome.
Road is a bit like the UK equivalent of Pelagic in a way. Like, the boundaries, and it leads me on to my next question quite nicely, is that um in terms of Hidden Mothers, you assume have short-term goals, which was to play Arctangent, release an album. And this week, I think Celestial Sanctuary have recently signed to Metal Blade Records, and they were previously on Church Road, which is a phenomenal step, Metal Blade being one of the biggest metal labels in the world. Is that your sort of goal trajectory, or are
I
you? Sorry,
I
go on,
would
Ari.
love that. Yeah, I would love that. I think we just want to keep on growing. I think that's what all band. This is why we do it. We just want more ears to hear the music, and if that means another step up, that would be incredible. I think we've got a few things on our bucket list as a band, and signing. I don't know, maybe to something bigger, doing European tours, island tours, wherever, even across the big over the pond if we can. I would love to. I'd love to play America. I'd love to play Japan if we can, but
See,
it's
I
about
would
getting as many ears on our music as possible.
see. I would have said differently to that. I would have said, to be honest, I can't. I mean,
Luke's like,
maybe
I'll just play London. I'll be happy. We're done.
no, but like I absolutely would love to play international shows,
Mhm.
especially. Yeah, and I think I mean, we've still got to play Scotland first. We are working on that, but we still have a long way to go before that will happen. But like, I would love to play international shows, especially like in Europe. Probably earlier on, especially. But I can't even fathom there being. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just kind of fathom there being a bigger place for us than Church Road, because I feel like Church Road was. There is still so much space for us to grow, even on Church Road as well, because there's so many bands on Church Road that are still a hell of a lot more out there than we are in terms of like success and kind of how much support they have. And at least, and there's a lot of the band that do graduate from Church Road as well. Absolutely, like I know, like Harriet did, and Svalbard did as well. But yeah, I don't know. I'm very happy where we are for now. But I definitely do see, yeah, there is places, things we want to do. But it's such a weird situation in terms of music nowadays. That I feel like it's. I talked about this in an interview recently when it was like I feel like I mean I'm still relatively young, but when I was a lot younger, when sorry Harry, I know you're shaking your head.
Why are you like 23 now or something like that?
I'm 29, but like
Oh,
when I
fuck off,
first
Luke.
but when I first had this idea of like being in music, I never expected it to be like this. I don't know. It's kind of like we're so much. I mean, not just me, but other members of the band. We're all just so much older and so much more experienced, and have so much more going on than I ever thought would happen if what is happening ever actually happened for me, which is being in a band that people actually listen to. And then that's just really, really crazy. Like I just kind of like when I remember being younger, I used to watch like the Thrice tour documentaries and stuff, and I was always like, oh well, that's how what being a band's like. You leave school at 18, you go join a band, and you go on tour forever, and that's just what happens. And it's also weird to think that I can't imagine how with our lives now how there could be anywhere else we could go, because we're not full-time musicians. But I guess there are still places, but it's kind of just reevaluating what being a musician really is, because it's not what it was in the early 2000s, which is what I grew up thinking it was.
My last question, I'm going to pose this to Venny first before I ask Luke or Ari, right? Venny, off the back of this album that we haven't reviewed, but we've both listened to, do you think the aspirations of the lads of touring Europe, Japan, America are far-fetched?
Based on the purely of the quality of the music, absolutely not. It's like a really interesting time in music at the moment. Like you see bands, like you said, Svalbard's, like they're going all over the place, doing huge tours.
Supporting enslaved.
Japan, US. Do you know? So like, do you know what? There's nothing I could see stopping you guys. Like, why not?
And then same questions to Luke and Ari. Like, I know Luke, you probably gave an answer, but Ari, from your point of view?
It's like I said, we do have we're not full-time musicians. So me and Liam, we're both dads, so we've got family commitments and what have you. But I don't I'm a blue sky thinker. So
The
it's like a
bluest
Zoom
of
meeting.
blue sky thinkers.
I've gone for the Zoom meeting approach. So if we get our ducks in a row, then why not?
Yeah.
But
I
It's
mean,
the opportunity to say, once we've got a Dutch in a row, watch them quack.
and on that note, that's the interview over. Thanks. No, I'm joking. Like Luke, do you think it's? I honestly think this record is so strong that Europe is certainly well on the cards. You know, America and Japan potentially in a few years. I mean, God, I really hope you do get those tours, but I think Europe is definitely crying out for you guys to be on tour, and I really hope it happens because the new album's fantastic, lads.
Thank you
It's
so
really
much.
good.
We have approached our label mates, Fallen Messiah. So they're based in France. So Liam is speaking with them, but fingers crossed, Europe Maybe next
Fantastic.
Sounds like Liam speaking to a lot of people.
Yeah, I've not. But can I just clarify? I'm here. I'm partially here to make sure Ari doesn't say anything that's not true. I've not
We've had
heard
loads
that.
of exclusives. It's good stuff, this Joey.
It was the glass of wine I got Ari to have before. He's just loosened up. He's like, yeah, we're going on tour.
I've not heard that. I mean, I'm not saying it hasn't happened. That's not. I'm not saying that. I'm saying Ari might have remembered something from a dream that he had.
It's all a dream to me.
The best bit is Luke, is you stepping in and going, oh, it's definitely not happened. And we all know it has.
No, but that is genuinely I've never heard that's happened. So, but I'm sure you're right, Ari. But I've never heard it. It's just it's interesting how much must kind of go on in this band, and we all don't hear from each other because maybe it has happened. I don't know. But yeah. I mean, I really want to do lots, and I really, I think I'm always in a bit of a weird position with this, and I don't know. Maybe I'm always a little bit harder on the band than maybe say Ari would be. I'm maybe a little bit more kind of skeptical of kind of. I don't know if it's maybe kind of the vulnerability of being kind of a vocalist and sort of I do all the lyrics and it's like a lot of the songwriting and stuff. I guess there's a kind of a vulnerability of that as kind of the imposter syndrome that comes with that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe more so than Ari, who's very much a bit more kind of positive and kind of we're working really hard, we're doing really good stuff. But I would love for it to happen, for us to do whatever we can. So
fingers crossed, and I'm sure it will. I'm confident it will. Venny, over to you to close out, mate. If you've any.
No, I mean, not got much to add, mate. You will hear our review show. It'll be coming out soon. Like, apologies for us stumbling over various cliches and trying to describe what I think is genuinely a very difficult album to describe. And then not long after, we'll be doing our Albums of the Year show, which will be coming up soon after. I don't want to look at Jerry's face, put a spoiler in there. But yeah, listen out for that. And
mate, album of the year. All right.
Looking forward to seeing a vintage Leicester shirt on stage soon.
Yes, very much so.
I've got a ridiculous collection.
And Luke, I must hook you up with that signed Port Vale shirt before the end of the year.
Oh, that would go. I mean, yeah.
Slide into my DMs, as the kids say.
Awesome, yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, well, we'll I'm sure we can sort you guys out with something as well, like a vinyl or something.
No, honestly, we never accept anything. We like to pay the bands what they're due. So I appreciate the offer, but thank you. Gents, this has been an incredible chat. I've had so much fun.
Thank you.
Brilliant. I'm just going to go hop in the pool because it's a bit hot here.
I'm only hot because the radiators are on.
But gents, it's been great. And listen, best of luck with the album release and your final show on this Friday.
It is, yeah.
Yes, of the year, yeah. Not final show ever.
Sorry, yeah.
We want to play in Europe. We just said this.
yeah. Never exclusive. Hidden Mothers are done. Last show.
That's good clickbait right there, mate.
Listen, lads, it's been great. Thank you so much for your time, and best luck with the album release, the tour, and I hope to God we see you at some point in the next year.
Thank you so much, guys. It's been awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys, thanks a lot.